Hey everyone, this is Stephen and it's the 15th of February 2017 and already week 7 of this calendar year. We've had a huge start to the year here at FlowXO so far. Everybody wants to talk to us about a chatbot, and rightly so. I think they're definitely the business technology to adopt in 2017. Today I'm going to show you how to get your very own chatbot in place and let it help you make more sales and cut down on customer service people hours in the remaining weeks of February and beyond for this year. So an official welcome to FlowXO's Getting Started webcast, where we'll get you up and running with FlowXO with an introduction to its key features and benefits, specifically in relation to its broadcast service for marketing, its messaging service for contacting human agents in real time. That one's really important. We're going to look at human augmenting the bot for maximum effectiveness, and we're going to look at how to collect data through a conversational form. We'll be looking at launching a bot on Facebook Messenger primarily, but then also launching access to the same bot as a custom widget on your website, as well as providing a full-fledged web messenger directly embedded in your own website or landing page. You'll see that a core strength of FlowXO is our cross-platform focus, which the web messenger is largely an extension of. You just need to build a bot once and you can have it present everywhere. If there's anything specific you'd like to see today, just get into live chat now. Robert, I've just spotted you over there in live chat, so I'll be sure to speak to you at the end of this presentation. Or drop a note in our community later. I'll give you some links for that if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, by this point, you'll have signed up for a FlowXO account and connected your messenger bot up. Let us know if you have any trouble with that, either right now in chat or pass us a note in the community. Let's just have a look in chat, make sure everybody is happy. Again, drop me any notes there if there are any problems. A quick reminder, what is FlowXO? Well, first of all, it's the future of business messaging, and you know it must be true because it says it right there. In more direct terms, FlowXO is a complete platform for building, hosting and managing chatbots for messaging platforms such as Messenger, Slack and Telegram. It includes a visual editor to build bots without code. Everything is driven by a set of flows which you build out with certain tasks. You can create and distribute your own bots which are owned and branded by you but controlled and hosted by FlowXO. Again, this is live, so I want to maximize your time, provide everything you need to get started right in this session. So let's solve any queries or give any guidance you need right away. Get into live chat and talk to the team and I. Okay, down to business. Let's go onto my desktop. So my example business for today is the mortgage store, who are the home of the mortgage bot. The mortgage store are a typical mortgage broker who are regulated to advise customers on mortgage loans, and they have this Facebook page in place. They have a range of products available: first-time buyer, remortgage, buy-to-let or second home mortgages. And just some more context, the mortgage store simply want to communicate with customers better, provide a more engaging experience, divert basic queries away from their resources-intensive phone line, and ultimately write more business. If you got my email, you should have a bot in place by now and Messenger open and ready to go, as well as Google Sheets, Gmail and of course FlowXO. We'll take a close look at that setup in a few minutes, but first let's dive right in and take a look at our bot in action. I'm going to launch him here so that you can see that passing the start keyword, get started, is going to give us some specific text to welcome new customers. Again, we're launching it in Facebook Messenger here, but later we'll see how FlowXO is platform agnostic and easily accessible from your own web page. So here, clicking Get Started gives us a specific trigger to welcome new first-time customers. And you can see that right away, the bot has tried to get us on track by giving some option buttons. He wants to fulfill his purpose and direct customers to the things that he can help with. However, it's important that he can handle some basic conversation. So let's say hello. And you can see he wants to get right to the point again. He greets us in return, but he wants to give us a menu button and direct us to the things that he can handle. I'm more interested if he knows his name, however. I'm going to be a little bit mischievous and type in a question rather than click for the menu that he's offered.
Been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Okay, so you can see you can easily counter that too. And it's constantly directing back into the bot's purpose through the menu. which is the whole point of having the bot out there. It's really easy to set up this basic conversational small talk and capture any and all things that are thrown at the bot. We'll look at some flows in a moment so you can see how easy it was to put this together, but just a final try to stress the point. We'll ask him to tell me a joke. Okay, and you can see that that's well handled again. We're not here to mess around, we're here to do business. So let's get on with it and click for the menu. So let's get back into our context of the mortgage store, and let's assume that I'm a customer in Messenger and I want an update on my mortgage inquiry. Whilst case updates could in fact be handled by the bot, I'm more interested in what a human broker has to say. I'm desperate to complete on a mortgage deal. So I'm going to select Talk to a Human, which is offered here. And you can see, unfortunately, we've run into a bit of a problem here. We've returned some standard small talk or helper text, and unfortunately, we haven't got a flow in place to handle this conversation. So let's resolve that. So here I am at the flow dashboard. Just a quick shout out to this feature here. There's a referral link, and if you encourage your friends to use the platform via social media, you can earn rewards in the way of extra interactions and bots or flows. Other things to look at on the dashboard, you can see here I've arranged my flows into folders, which is great for managing what the bot does and tweaking functionality, or for organising flows for different customers. Now let's look at how easy it is to resolve our issue speaking to a human agent. We'll click New Flow. We'll select Message a Human. I've got to turn the workflow on. Just running down the flow here, you can see that this task needs editing by us, and we're told exactly what we need to do. We just need to insert our email here. Back over in Messenger, I'm going to talk to a human again. We wanted an update on our case. And the bot tells us he's got it. We'll usually get back to you in a few working hours. I then have the option as the customer to send another message if I want to chase that agent up. But switching perspective now, let's imagine that I'm an agent of the mortgage store. In my inbox, I receive an email with the customer's message there. And the great news is I can reply as that agent directly to this customer, directly into the Messenger interface. And you can see we've put some special notation here in here as well automatically, so that back in the bot, back in Messenger, we've now got the agent's reply going directly to the customer, and we've switched out the shortcut there. It's now a reply button. So as the customer, I can reply to this human agent and maintain the thread of conversation with the human rather than with the bot. Of course, I can just chat away here and talk to the bot instead if I want to. So you can see I used Gmail in that example, but importantly, I could have used Freshdesk, SalesforceDesk.com, Help Scout, or any other support or ticketing software where I can route emails. So in just a few minutes, minus my elaborations, we've got a fully human augmented bot in place by the use of that Flowexo template. There are lots of other templates there as well. We're going to explore at least one more in this cast. But for now, let's get back to our scenario. So we've spoken to the human. He hasn't quite answered the question to my satisfaction. So I'm going to go and get another quote from the bot. I'm going to click Get a Quote. And unfortunately, you can see we've got exactly the same problem here. We've not accommodated this requirement with a flow. So again, we're going to go and resolve that. But the difference here is that we're going to build this one together rather than use a template. I'm going to go into my forms section. So we're going to build what's essentially a conversational web form now. I'm going to edit. We'll turn this workflow on. You can see here I'm triggering on somebody saying the word quote to the bot, or a sentence that closely matches the word or phrase quote. I'm going to send a message directly back to the customer. It's important to keep this interaction engaging. We want to always make it out to the customer that we're taking care of them first before we complete any of the operations that we need to do. So let's get a message straight back to the customer. Then we're going to ask a set of questions. So these are the questions, these are the fields that I typically have on my web form. So we'll ask a question. Now, I'm going to insert, rather than type this text now, I'm going to use the Flowxo icon here. And I'm going to use a Facebook output. So these are all the outputs that have been passed to me from the trigger of this flow. And you can see here that Facebook handily passes me the username. So I've got this person's name. But what I don't have is their email address. It's a text type question that we're asking. We just want a text response. And we know we want to validate the answer as an email. We only want the customer to be able to give us an email back. We'll ask another question. So just building out this conversational form here. We'll ask to take a mobile or cell phone number. Again, it's text. We want to validate this one. We'll validate it as integer because we know we want to get a number back. We'll ask one more question. And I've got a little bit of pre-prepared text here because I'm asking a slightly more personal question. I'm going to put an emoji in place as well, just to make it more friendly. Could I take your salary? Of course, I'll keep this information confidential. Again, we want to validate this as an integer because we're going to get a salary back, a number back. Then we're going to use a Flowxo helper function. We're going to use the number task and we're going to perform a calculation. I'm going to enter an expression here. Now I'm going to use two things. Firstly, a Flowxo output, and I want the answer to that last question that was given to me, which is the person's salary, we know. And I'm going to times it by 4.5. So this is a typical mortgage lending criteria, 4.5 times salary. So we've done a little calculation there. We don't want to keep this customer waiting. Again, it's important to keep this form interactive to make sure that the person sticks around to fill everything out that we're interested in capturing from them. So we're going to send a message straight back. Again, just a bit of pre-prepared text here, but I need to make a small adjustment here. I'm going to say, as an indication, we're able to give you a mortgage of around, and we're going to insert the result of our calculation. So again, just clicking the Flowxo output and then result down here. Next, we're going to use two exciting actions. We're going to use, firstly, I'm going to use Google Sheets. Just a quick look at what our Google Sheet looks like. So I have this sheet set up in the background, and you can think of this sheet as a proxy for any database, any MySQL database, or any CRM system like Salesforce that you might have in the background. I'm using a Google Sheet just because it's really easy to get up and running, and you can see here, these are the details that I'm interested in capturing about my sales lead. Back in Flowxo, I want to add a row. I'm asked to select which sheet, and you can see here that Flowxo has handily generated all of the fields that were in my spreadsheet, and all I've got to do is pick from the FlowXO outputs and put them in the right place. So the username is going in the name field. In the email, that was the answer to our first question. Mobile was the answer to our second question. Salary, the answer to our third question. And mortgage amount was the result of our calculation. Finally, in this flow, we've looked at messaging once, but since it's so powerful, we're going to use it again here, this time in a slightly different context, because now obviously we want to respond to these new leads coming directly off this conversational form. We want to make sure we get them routed to an agent right away. So we're going to send a message to email again. It's a new hot sales lead, and this is the message that we're going to pass back to the agent of the mortgage store. Now you can see here again, just using FlowXO outputs, I'm going to use the name which Facebook gives me and the mortgage amount which was the result of our calculation. So again, just to reiterate, two things have happened here. We've logged the new lead in our CRM system or in our database, this case just in a Google Sheet, via this interactive form, and then we're going to pass that lead, this hot sales lead, off to an agent so that they can get back to the customer right away and hopefully seal the deal. So again, just making sure that this flows on. Let's go back to Messenger, and this time when I choose to get a quote, we're going to play out this flow now. You can see here the calculations performed for us to give us an indicative quote, and I'm told that the details have been passed to an advisor. Over in my sheet, there's the lead that I've just logged that's filled their details out in my conversational form, and over in Gmail, a new message has been routed to me as an agent of the mortgage store. Again, really important point, this can be routed anywhere where I can receive an email, so Help Scout, for instance, directly into your CRM system, wherever you can send an email to. And as the agent, I can then reply and back in Messenger, we've got the response from the agent. Okay, so now as the customer, let's put ourselves back in the customer's shoes. I'm interested now. I've spoken to the agent a couple of times. I've got a quote. I'm looking around at what I might do. Perhaps I'm not ready to take a deal just yet. I'm more interested in getting updates on the mortgage products I might eventually want to purchase. I know that interest rates move around a lot. The quote wasn't quite to my liking, and I'm not just ready to dive in, but I might like to revisit when rates are right for me. So let's subscribe to this bot's updates. Which product would I like to subscribe to? The remortgage offers. I'm told I've been subscribed. So firstly, let's just go into FlowXO and just examine the subscribe flow that allows us to sign up here. Well, first of all, I'm triggering on the word subscribe, which is the shortcut we chose. Then I'm going to ask a question. Bit of a difference here. I'm going to use the question type of choice. And these are the choices that I'm going to offer. Now in a moment you'll see that the outputs that we get can either be the choice or the value that we want to pass through to FlowXO. So you can record what people actually chose and what our output is that we want to record, which might be different. In our case, it's going to be the same. So we can just fill in the choice inputs here. Next, we're going to use FlowXO's attribute service. Now, attributes are really important for controlling your flows and how you interact with customers. Attributes are a simple key value store in the background. They can act like a counter, how many times somebody visited, or a flag, somebody said a specific word. It's important to note that these attributes, specific to each customer, based on the response path here that we generate, they're available in the trigger of every flow. That's going to be important in the next flow that we look at. This is the message that we send back to the user. But in our next flow, the broadcast marketing flow, it's here that we're going to send out the marketing messages to customers. Just an important note, when we're using the broadcast service, it's going to send to absolutely everybody that has the bot installed by default. Of course, that's great. One trigger, like an email, a webhook, or an RSS feed item being received, and all of our customers are going to get the content, unless we make good use of FlowXO filters in order to segregate our marketing and direct messages to relevant customers. So you can see here on this broadcast trigger, I'm dealing with a webhook. I'll talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to broadcast to all users, but you can see here I've applied some FlowXO filters. The things I want to look at are firstly the content that I deliver to FlowXO. I need to make sure it contains remortgage, and secondly that attribute that we recorded in our previous flow about the customer needs to be remortgaged too. So I know that when I send this information, it's only going to send to customers that are interested in remortgage deals. I said I'd say a little bit more about the webhook. So for those of you that aren't familiar with those, don't worry. I've used it here just to demonstrate how easy it is to get information into and out of FlowXO from any web connected app. You can trigger a workflow and use the data that is sent from the app in your flow and therefore in conversation with the customer. You'll be glad to know you can webhook out too. For now, I just need to paste the detail into my browser, and you can see that I've got a deal directly through to the customer's messenger channel right away. Back in FlowXO, I'm told that it was triggered a minute ago. That's the webhook we just sent. If I go to options and take a look at the logs, you can see here these green items are items where we delivered a message to a subscriber, and the blue ones here are people that we've registered as using our bot, but they've been filtered out based on not being interested in the type of deal that I was sending just at the moment. You'll be glad to know that you can also trigger the broadcast service via an email or by consuming an existing RSS feed. You might already have one on your site. If you are going to use an RSS feed, even better, you might have guessed it, there's already a template to handle that. So by just a few clicks you can get this in place. I'm going to select newsfeed here from the templates. That flow's installed. I just need to turn it on, and already this is ready to go. By default, it's going to use the BBC News website, so the British Broadcasting Corporation here in the UK, and we're going to post out news stories into that messenger channel. By the end of this presentation, I'm sure we'll see an example of that running. Okay, let's just have a final review here. Let's look at some finishing touches and make sure we understand how we greeted those new customers. Well, first of all, here is the welcome and help flow. It's triggered on a catch-all. A catch-all is slightly different to a normal trigger because instead of looking for a keyword or phrase, we're looking for absolutely anything that we don't understand rather than things that we do understand. So when the bot sees something that it's not familiar with, it's going to trigger this flow. Next, we're going to use the code service in this flow. Now, the code service is a powerful way to do, well, whatever it is you want, really. It can make requests to other apps or services that FlowXO doesn't support. It can perform custom manipulations or calculations on data and use the output in the conversation with the customer. We've used a really simple example here, however. The options are limitless, but here we're just really simply splitting out the person's first name from the full name that Facebook gives to us. Be sure to talk to us about that service to see how you can get the best out of it. Further down this flow, you can then see I'm just accommodating different interactions. First of all, these are the tasks that give us the messages when we click get started and pass the start keyword. They're filtered, so we only say those on the first connection. And alternatively, when we don't understand something, we're just going to say, here are the things that I can help you with today, and give the menu to direct the user back into the things that the bot can in fact handle. Next flow to look at is the Smalltalk flow. Now again, this is a FlowXO template, so this was a one-click install. It took me about 10 seconds to put this in place, and my bot was ready to answer questions like, tell me a joke, what's your name, all the typical things that people say to a bot to try and catch it out. So you can see here that in the trigger, I'm automatically capturing lots of possible words or phrases that are commonly said to the bot, but I've also grouped them. That makes life easy when we come to filtering further down the flow, as I can filter based on that group rather than the individual word, and respond in the same way to similar words or phrases. So you can see here in the next task, here's my standard greeting response, and there is the filter on the greeting group of words or phrases. I'm also going to stop the flow if that condition's met, because I know that I've been given a greeting. I don't want to give a message about anything else that occurs further down the flow. Again, this is a longer flow with lots of options in the trigger, but it is a template, so it's a one-click install into FlowXO, but you can customize it and add as many more words or phrases as you like into the trigger. Okay, so we're starting to see a really great bot coming together here on Facebook Messenger, but what would be really interesting is if we could launch this in more than one place, in more than just on Facebook Messenger. We do take pride in being platform agnostic at FlowXO, and now we're going to look at getting our bot, the same bot with the same logic, launched in a different place. First of all, just as a widget on our website, but secondly as a full-fledged web messenger. So first the widget. In my bot section here, I just need to click Create Widget. And when I click Get Code, I'm given a little bit of JavaScript here, and all I need to do is embed that in my HTML, in my website, or in my landing page, right above the closing body tag. If you have a web developer that looks after this for you, just give him that little bit of code. It'll be, again, 30 seconds work to get this up and running, and you'll see a little widget appear on your website just like that. And you'll be given an option to click Message Me to be taken to the same messenger interface that we saw before. Just out of interest, you can now see that the newsfeed flow that we put in place has sent this story to me from BBC News. And interestingly, again, it's about robots moving to the moon. So a little bit on topic as well. Rather than just a widget, you can create a full-fledged web messenger embedded in your website as well. So we're going to pick the web messenger here from the platform list. We're going to give it the same name as our Facebook Messenger bot. And same story again, a little bit more code this time, but exactly the same thing. Copy this out and pass it to your web developer, or put it into your HTML yourself. I get a similar little pop-up on my website, but this time clicking that launches full-fledged web messenger in my website. And you can see here, this is the same conversation, exactly the same as we had with the Facebook Messenger bot. So no matter where your customer comes from, if they come to your website or if they go to your messenger profile and speak to the bot, they're going to have the same consistent conversation, and you're going to focus leads all into the same place. So you can see here we've got the basis of a really good, well-distributed bot. We've got some marketing functions in place with the broadcast service. We're able to point out options to brand new customers right away, and we can respond when we don't understand a particular message with some small talk. We've also looked at data collection through that conversational form. It's a really important way to increase your conversion rate by moving away from standard static web forms and having a conversation with the customer and collecting the detail that way. And we've also looked at the messaging service, which is probably even more powerful than the forms idea. The idea that you can pass live leads onto human agents and respond. The human agent can respond directly into the channel with the customer, so it's a seamless experience for them. So this is it, crunch time. I hope you've seen how easy it is to get started with FlowXO. You've got some of your own ideas about what you'd like to build next. Let's have a look at what FlowXO pricing is like. So you can see for only $19 a month, you can build 15 bots or flows, and you can accommodate 5,000 interactions. There's no contract or time period, and you can downgrade to a free plan at any time. Because you have been kind enough to watch today, I'd like to sweeten the deal just a little bit. First of all, here are links to the flows that we can't install via a template. So that quote flow that we built together, you can install by clicking that link there. And also here's the Google Sheet that we use to populate, so you can use that as well if you like. To get everything in place, you will need more than the 5 flows that are available in the free edition. So I am also going to give you a first month free if you sign up in the next 24 hours. You just have to use the coupon code there, free0717, when you sign up. Some extra special news just for this week. If you use that coupon right now, so today, in the next 24 hours, I'll also throw in a 15-minute Skype call that we can get arranged in the next few days, where I'll sit down with you and we'll get your bot up and running proper. I'm not going to be offering that very often, but I'm hoping to get some really great bots launched at the start of 2007. What that means, with no time period, you can completely de-risk your own bot launch today. Don't forget, this video is going to be online for a short while later, so you can get those links if you need them. Finally, just a few resources to be aware of from us. We have extensive help docs in our help centre at support.flowxo.com. We've got a lively community at community.flowxo.com. So lots of our other customers are discussing things there, talking about different use cases. It's a really good place to get some ideas about how to build your own bot. And finally, we have a really constructive blog over at medium.com/flowxo. Just a couple of things I'll point out today. Our MD, John Jackson, posted this blog piece recently, implementing human takeover in FlowXO. It uses the messaging service that we've looked at extensively today. It is really important, I think, in creating a really genuinely good bot. And I think that's backed up by this VentureBeat article that came out late in December, why your chatbot should be human augmented, not AI augmented. It's worth having a look at that as well. If you get a chance, I'm going to post that article into the live chat in a few minutes. So thanks for watching today, everyone. I've really enjoyed building that bot out with you. Please do get signed up and tell me more about your use case. I'm going to be on live chat now, and I'll be delighted to help you get started building things out. I'll be running this session weekly, so feel free to come and watch again if you like. The core content won't change, but if you have a specific case, perhaps we can build that into the session. I will be running another video series soon too as well, so make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with that, and also with new releases and hints and tips for using FlowXO. Do get in touch, I'd love to hear from you. Remember, if you use the coupon today, we can get a 15-minute call booked in to discuss your bot and really get you started. See you all soon. Thanks very much.